I'm Lynn Pierotti with the Island Eye News, and I'm over here at my partner's house down here at the south end of the Isle of Palms to discuss some of the devastation that's going on around here. Rom is my partner at Lucky Dog News. He bought the paper about a year ago, and I just had a few questions for him about what his thoughts are on all this. Hey Rom, how you doing?
Thank you, Lynn.
Appreciate you talking to me. I know you got jet lag from coming back from your trip.
I know, yeah.
You came back, you're exhausted. First thing you do is you walk out, you look in your backyard. What were your thoughts?
You know, it's my backyard, but it's everyone else's backyard as well. The beaches are destroyed all the way north, all the way to Wild Dunes. Some folks have destruction under their foundation. It's very, very sad. The city and OCRM need to recognize that their policies, their ordinances, all of this have not worked. And it's time to look at something different.
Well, I noticed that left and right of you and all the way down to Breaches Inlet, they have significantly more damage than you do. What do you attribute that to?
You know, we watched what the city and the OCRM did all the way through October, and their continued failed policies made Renee and I decide that we were going to protect our property. I think property protection is a fundamental right in the United States Constitution, and so we went ahead and put in an erosion barrier that is better able to withstand the waves than expensive sand. $1.5 million worth of it that's just all gotten washed away.
I noticed too, your pool is by the side of your house. You don't have any protection other than what you put out there. So
Correct.
Theoretically, that water would continue to come up where the pools have kept them from the other houses coming under into their foundations.
Our foundation have gotten taken out if we didn't have some type of protection other than sand.
You mentioned that the city was putting out sand. I noticed they're not putting out sand anymore. How did that come about?
OCRM and the city decided that because we had erosion control put in there, that they were going to punish us. That's the best way I can put it. I'd say to the citizens of Isle of Palm, look out. They're coming after me because I'm a high-profile target, but they're going to come after you next. OCRM's latest version of regulation is this. The state was set up that said you have a setback line, seaward of that is OCRM's jurisdiction. Landward of that is the property owner's jurisdiction. Well, they have now, unelected bureaucrats have now expanded that definition to say, if your home erodes for any reason, like Idalia, they have jurisdiction up to the new eroded line. So theoretically, last couple of weeks ago, my neighbor's house eroded all the way up to her pool. So in their view, they have jurisdiction over that. What does that mean for you? No dirt, no bushes, no landscaping, no grass, no turf, no nothing except beach compatible sand that they approve. This is nothing but government overreach, and it's a violation of the US Constitution.
So if the water continues to come up to whatever level it comes up to, if it comes to the base of your house, do they now have control of your complete backyard?
This is a really good question, Lynn, because we were out there talking about this and they kept saying they had jurisdiction up to the eroded line, and my wife said, where does it end? And the OCRM guy actually said, they were arrogant enough to say, it does not. This is on tape. We have it on tape. They literally said it does not. So they're basically saying they are going to take over our yards. Property is the foundation of freedom. It was written into our Constitution that property is the foundation of freedom. When you lose your property, you lose your freedom. People need to wake up. They need to wake up and they need to stop this madness. This is governmental overreach at its worst. Like I said, they're coming after me now, but they're going to come after you.
You said OCRM is upset about the wall. The town has an ordinance against any kind of man-made structure out there too.
Correct.
What's your thought on that?
IOP is to my knowledge, is the only coastal community that actually passed an ordinance that prevents any type of protective structure for 250 feet from the high tide line, which is essentially your entire property. So they're basically saying you can't do anything to protect your property. Of course that's illegal. Of course that's a violation of the Fifth Amendment of the US Constitution for them to do that. It's not one that's going to hold up in any court of law, which is why no one has that. One other thing I want to point out, most people seem to look at social media and conclude that hard structures are bad. Well, there's only a handful of states that ban them. Most states allow them. As a matter of fact, in Florida, which has a very progressive governor, and Governor DeSantis and their legislature, after Hurricane Ian, Florida actually issued grants up to $150,000 with a 50-50 match to put in seawalls because they work.
Let me ask you, understanding your arguments on seawalls, don't they contribute though to erosion surrounding them?
You know, this is a really good question, and there is, like I said, there's a lot of misinformation on how that happens. The reality of it is that we are very supportive of soft erosion control protection like sand, so for turtles and birds and the habitat and all that. When we're talking about protective devices, we're talking about secondary protection. So all the primary protection fails in a catastrophic event. Why do we want property destroyed? This is a backup protection. It's not the primary protection. So people get confused with this. They read something that says, oh, a hard erosion control structure is bad. Not clear, by the way, that there's a big study in Japan that actually disputes that. But let's assume it's clear, it's okay. But that's not what we're saying. We're saying don't have hard control as primary. Have the sand, maintain the sand, do your job by maintaining the beaches and maintaining the sand. But when all these things you do fail, you should not be involved in saying the homeowner has to suffer destruction and there is no recourse. Let the homeowner have backup protection. That's all we're saying. Every resident here should wake up and say, your homes are being destroyed. Simply look at where they were in March of last year and look at where they are today. There was one home that was in danger last year. Almost every home now here is in the danger zone now. These things they're doing are not working, Lynn, and they refuse to look at anything else. Instead, they want to come after people who do things to protect their property, which is their right under the Constitution.
Where do you see this all coming to an end? How do you see it ending?
I don't know exactly how it's going to end. As you know, OCRM is now claiming very broad jurisdiction. I think as citizens, regardless of what your beliefs are, regardless of where you live, you should stand up and fight it, because that is just plain wrong. I am going to fight it. For myself, I'm going to say, I will not just cave into this thing. I will say I have a constitutional right to protect my property. I'm going to exercise those rights. I sure hope that most of our citizens start looking into what's going on and rise up and say, enough is enough. It's time that we protected our property, not delegated to people who have destroyed our property and have no plan. They have no plan other than to keep putting more sand and see more destruction. This island needs to at least withstand a Category 2/Category 3 hurricane. 5, all bets are off.
Sure.
Anything can happen. But we need to be planning for a Category 2. It's going to happen. Right now, if a Category 2 happens, homes on this stretch will be in the ocean. It'll destroy property values. Your home values are going to go to almost nothing because you will not find a buyer who's prepared to take that risk. We need to act now. We need to stop it, and we need to make sure that not a single home here can actually fall into the ocean for all of our sakes. I look at this as it's not just me, it's not my issue, it's not my home, it's us. As a community, we shouldn't let government overreach like they are, and this overreach is resulting in a destruction of properties and property values, and that's not right.
I appreciate you taking the time, coming back from your
Thank you,
vacation
Lynn.
to talk to us
Appreciate
about it.
Thank you.